So when Splatoon originally released on the Nintendo Wii U, I never picked it up. I flat out missed out on it, and it's a shame because I heard it is an absolutely solid title. So of course, when the sequel, Splatoon 2, came out on the Nintendo Switch, of course, naturally, I had to pick it up. And from what I hear, it's basically Splatoon 1 with a couple of new stuff here and there. So ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, is Splatoon 2 any good? Let's find out, shall we? Splatoon 2 is a third-person shooter in which you control various kids that can turn into squids and then back again to maneuver through ink that the player must splooge everywhere. The game itself is largely focused on online play, in which you have to essentially fight against an enemy team in order to cover the battlefield in as much of your team's ink as possible. Of course, that is only your primary objective. You'll also need to keep an eye on other players on the enemy team too, in order to avoid getting killed or splatted. The game itself offers tons of customizability in the form of the large variety of different weapons that you can utilize, all of which have their own advantages and drawbacks. Included with the weapons are also various clothing options that you can grab to customize your character's stats in game. And the more you play, the more options open up to you in what you can choose to use. The online itself is split up into multiple modes: standard battle, ranked battle, and league battle, all of which have different game modes and maps available to them that rotate over a set period of time. Not only that, but on occasion special events known as Splatfests can pop up. In these, you can choose a team and fight to help your team reach victory. For example, mayonnaise versus ketchup, which just happened the other day. All of the online modes at offer here are exceptionally fun and oddly addictive to play. In fact, I tend to notice time just fly by while playing, which honestly is a rare thing for me in particular when it comes to online games. I'm usually more of a single player gamer after all. Speaking of which, there is a single player mode on offer here too, where you must work in order to find the great Zapfish and stop the evil Octolings from succeeding in their plans. The single player itself is more of a platformer than a traditional third-person shooter, where you must work out how to effectively move about the environment while solving minor puzzles here and there. This serves as a brilliant way to get into the game and is honestly a lot of fun. Although it's far from the game's spotlight, I enjoyed my time playing it. Each of the levels in the single player are located in various hub worlds, all of which are small and fun enough to explore without getting in the way of things. Although I can't say I was fond of the final hub world, I found that to be an absolute mess to maneuver through. Not only that, but there is a Horde style game mode on offer here too, in which you must survive waves of enemies in order to collect their eggs in an attempt to clear each round. This is also extremely entertaining, however this is where a big problem starts to show up with the game. A lot of the game's content is unavailable at all times. For example, the maps and game modes available to you will rotate over time, so if you want to straight up play the Horde mode, for example, whenever you like, well, you can't. You have to wait for it to open up to you. I honestly like the roulette for the maps, but truth be told, locking out game modes like this I find to be an extremely unnecessary and frustrating time. Speaking of frustrating, the online system itself does leave a lot to be desired, with my biggest issue seemingly coming in the form of playing with friends. While it is possible, I found it to be a very frustrating experience trying to play online with friends, as a result of how the lobbies are handled. And I feel a more traditional party system were present, a lot of these issues could be rectified and a lot more flexibility could be introduced. Although this seems to be more of a Nintendo Switch issue than anything else, as the same complaints here apply to a lot of other titles on the console, such as Mario Kart 8 for example. Graphically, the game looks gorgeous, with bright colourful aesthetics, with beautiful ink splooshing everywhere. The sound design is also on point, featuring some neat music alongside some lovely sound effects. Another thing I should bring up is the game's potential difficulty curve in regards to its control scheme. The game offers gyro control aiming, which can be turned off by the way, that can potentially offer extremely accurate and snappy controls. However, it does come with the drawback of the players requiring to adjust to how it works. For many, the gyro control itself is a no-go, but I personally find it fun as hell to use, and as a result, I end up shooting much more accurately overall. Periodically too, new goodies seem to be added to the game, like extra guns and what have you, which I truly love. Ultimately, Splatoon 2 is an absolutely fantastic game that is fun, addicting, and colourful. And while it does have a couple of drawbacks in how the online is mainly handled, and certain aspects of the level design in the single player do annoy me, the game itself is in solid time through and through, and honestly it's a game that I heavily recommend to people. It doesn't look like much when you look at it, but trust me, playing it is another story, and it's an incredibly addictive game. It's so fun, and I heavily recommend it to anybody who owns a Nintendo Switch. I don't know, not sure how much I could recommend it to people who play the first game, however, because obviously I haven't played the first game. And from what I hear, it is basically the core of the first game again. But I enjoyed my time with it, and I love it through and through. So it's a heavily, highly recommended game from me. But with that is it for the review, so thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. Don't be sheepish, people, and I'll catch you all again. Bye!